understood, when one person transfers the ownership of a goods to another, for consideration of a price, a sale is have to be made. That means here you see there are two things. One is your transfer of property, and another is your consideration. That means without these two, a contract of a sale cannot be possible. Is that right? A contract of sale. Basically, if we'll understand what are the main constituents of a contract of a sale, that is, one is your consideration and another is property in the goods. Okay, so let us understand what are the essentials of a contract of sales. First point is that a valid contract. Valid contract means as it is a contract of sale, so the contract should be valid itself. How the contract will be valid, that is nothing what required to mention you, because I have already discussed among you regarding what is the valid contract and what are the essential elements of the contract. That means all the essential elements of the contract, like what a valid offer, valid acceptance, pre-consent, and lawful consideration, all these things. If it will be satisfied, then only the contract will be valid. And for the purpose of a contract of sale, a valid contract is required. It is the first essential characteristics. Is that correct or any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Next is
Right.
so next is what are the parties, or who are the parties to the contract of sale? How many parties there will be? There will be two parties. Okay. These two parties, one is a buyer and another is a seller. Okay, why? Because you see, the same person cannot sell the goods to himself or herself. That is why at least two parties are required. That is, one is a buyer and another is a seller. Right? Yes. Any issue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So next is your agreement for the transfer of ownership. Actually, here you see, as I have discussed the definition, the definition already mentioned it, that the transfer of ownership is a must. Okay, that means to constitute a valid contract of a sale, there should be immediate transfer, either immediate transfer of a good or an agreement to transfer the goods or the property or the ownership of the goods. It is essential to transfer the general property in the goods from the seller to the buyer. It may be with or without physical possession of the goods. That means even sometimes we can also transfer the ownership of the goods without passing the physical possession of the goods. For example, suppose what I am staying in Bhubaneswar and you are staying in Cuttack, and I have transferred the ownership of the goods which I intend to you to sell, but I have not delivered the goods to you. That means the physical possession has not been passed, but still it is the ownership can be transferred, right? And when ownership has been transferred, that means the contract of sale is over. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So three things I have discussed. Another only 2 points left. One is your goods and another is a price. So as it is Sales of Goods Act, so whatever the thing is supposed to be sold, that is considered here as the goods. It may be also the services. Okay. So here you see the subject matter of the contract of the sale must be the goods. That means the property of which is supposed to be transferred from one party to another. Okay, and this may be your when if there will be any confusion regarding what is the goods, then the goods actually goods means every kind of a movable property other than actionable claims and money. So money cannot be considered as a goods, and it also includes your stocks, shares, growing crops, grass, trees, and any land. Even any property, but it never include your what ये जो होता है money और जो होता है आपका bills of exchange, actionable claims, ये सब नहीं होता है. ठीक है?
So what are actionable claims?
एक्शनेबल क्लेम का मतलब क्या होता है कि एक्चुअली यू सी, जैसे कि बिल्स ऑफ एक्सचेंज बता रहा हूँ, ये बिल्स ऑफ एक्सचेंज एक एक्शनेबल क्लेम क्या होता है कि ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द what another agreement, it will become the goods, otherwise it will not become good. Why? You see, because in a negotiable instrument, certain other conditions are required, and after satisfaction of the conditions, then it will become your what? It can be converted into money. Even the money also not forming a part of your goods, although it is a legal tender money, but it is also not a part of a goods. Okay. Now we need to discuss what is the consideration. The consideration should be the price. Okay, the price. To constitute a valid contract of sale, the consideration for transfer must be money, which is paid or promised. If there will be no consideration, then without consideration, there cannot be what mm, that is the transfer of the ownership of the goods, and it cannot be possible, although there are few exceptions that I will discuss later on. But generally we should understand without consideration this cannot be fulfilled. That is why the considerations solely should be the what money only. Okay, so these are the few essential characteristics. What are they? First is your valid contract. Second is two parties, and third is agreement for the transfer of ownership. Fourth one is goods, and fifth one is price. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, one is valid contract, second one is two parties, third one.
Third one is the agreement for transfer of ownership. Okay. Suppose I wanted to sell you certain goods, but I will not transfer the ownership. Is it possible?
No.
That is why the agreement for transfer of ownership is also another essential elements of your contract of sale.
Then fourth one.
Fourth one is the goods, and fifth one is that is consideration.
Sir, in the
Consider-
book, sir, fifth number is price is there.
Yes, that price means what? It is
Price means a
Consideration, yes. Yes.
price is a consideration.
Sir, you told sometimes this
Yes.
money also without consideration also it can be done.
Those are
Transfer of property.
yes, those are actually exceptions. Those exceptions I will discuss later on. But still, you understand that consideration is required for a valid contract of sale. Okay. Whenever I will discuss the exceptions, at that time I will tell what are the few exceptions and where it will be possible that without a consideration also a contract of sale can be made. Right. Okay, so let us, as I told you already, that there is what a sale and agreement to sell are two different aspects. How? You see, a sale means what? You are making a contract for selling, and an agreement to sell means what? You are making an agreement to sell. That means agreement for the contract of sale, because the what here sale has not been made. You are making the agreement to make the sale. That means sale will be done in the future. That means neither the consideration nor the goods have been passed from one party to another. It will pass to each other in the future date. Then it will be called an agreement to sell. Now you understand what is a sale and agreement to sell.
Shall agent tell, sir?
You see, a sale is a contract of sale. That means here you see both the parties enter into agreement to transfer the property or ownership of the goods immediately and make the payment for that. That means the consideration shall be also moved. At the same time, consideration as well as the goods will move from one party to another in the present. Okay, but
goods will be transferred.
Goods will be transferred as well as your consideration. That means the price will also be transferred. Okay, at the same time. But you see, if we'll make the payment on a later date, and the goods also or the ownership of the property will also be transferred in the later on date, that is on a future date, then it is not a sale. but it is a it is an agreement to sell. Okay, able to understand or not? Or I will give you another example so that you will understand it better.
So another example then.
Okay. You see, suppose A and B are two parties. A wanted to sell his new car. Okay, sell his new car to B for 10 lakh rupees. Both the party entered into contract that A will sell his new car to B in the January, past January 2025, and the that is a consideration will also be paid on the same day. That means here you see both that means the consideration as well as the ownership of the goods, both will be passed on a future date. That means we cannot say tell that is a contract of sale. It is an agreement to sell, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are few distinctions between sale and a contract to sale, and we need to actually understand this so that it will be easier for us to find out a clear cut mark demarcation between the sale and the agreement to sell. That means a contract of sale and agreement to sell. Let us understand the first point of distinction, that is regarding the nature of a contract. As I told you, an agreement to sell is your already what you see, if we'll think about the sale, then which type of a contract it is? I have discussed different varieties of a contract. I have already discussed different varieties of contract. Now it is your duty to tell actually which type of a contract is this. A sale is which type of a contract? On the basis of execution, which type of a contract is this? A sale, contract to sell. Anyone can answer? On the basis of execution, a contract of sale is which type of a contract?
Valid contract.
Yes.
Valid contract.
No. On the basis of execution, there is no valid contract, invalid contract.
Executed contract.
Yes. Okay. So a contract of sale is an executed contract. But whereas an agreement to sell is an executory contract. Now you clearly identify both. That is a contract of a sale. Yes.
Agreement to sell is which type of contract?
An agreement to sell is an executory contract.
Executory.
Okay. Executory contract, I have also mentioned you what is executory contract, where both the parties to the contract will fulfill their obligations on a future date. Right? That means
both the parties, sorry, again you tell both the parties.
Where both the parties to the contract will fulfill their obligation on a future date. Right?
To the contract will.
Both the parties to the contract will fulfill their obligation on a future date. Okay, but in a contract of a sale is executed contract. That means both the parties to the contract have fulfilled their obligations. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next is your transfer of ownership.
सर आप थोड़ा नोट्स हमको देने से अच्छा रहेगा. आप इससे क्या करते हैं?
You see everything, the entire note is there in the website. You can have it, but little bit understanding is required. That is why I am discussing them.
Actually, all other teachers are there giving the notes, sir.
Actually, other teachers are giving the notes, but you see, law is a vast thing. Okay, law is a vast thing. If I will prepare a note, then it will take much time for me, and it is not possible to prepare the note. And as the same note is available there, you can go through the note wherever.
Yeah, at least if you will teach slowly, we can write something actually, because it
Okay,
is somewhat
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah. Sir,
okay,
anything is getting displayed in the screen. Actually, it is not visible. That's why.
Actually, we feel discomfort, and you are teaching very fast, and it evaporates from our mind because you are very new to this subject.
okay, 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 okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
if any slide is there, sir, better because nothing is visible. That's why.
Actually, I have not prepared the slide so that in the from the next
Slide or
class.
any contents or boards or anything, because maybe
Uh-huh.
sometimes.
Okay, that
Sir,
I
just use any board to write some important points so that we can note down that things.
okay, okay. From the next class, I will make
Actually,
what.
sir, this is a difficult subject. It may not be difficult, but we are into engineering background. And
Yes,
here, generally what happens now, if you little slowly teach, at least we can able to write what at least you are speaking. That also we are unable to do because you are so fast and not able to write anything. Just we are hearing and it goes out from the mind, and you will face problem. That is the only summation.
okay. I can go very slow, but the thing is that we will not able to
No,
complete
no,
the.
it's not like that, not very slow. At least you give an opportunity to
Uh,
write something, otherwise it's
No, sir,
difficult.
actually, most of the major point are written in the book also. You
yeah,
can
yeah.
refer. Yeah.
That is why actually, as all the points have been written in the book, and whatever the material is there online, which is supplied to you, if you will go through, then you will not find difficulty. At the same time, you can open that in your laptop.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay,
No problem. Okay,
but
sir. Okay,
wherever confirmation required, please don't
okay,
hesitate.
sir.
Okay,
Sir, sir.
uh,
Thank you, sir. Sir.
okay. So where what we are discussing in the
Agreement to sell.
okay. So agreement to sell, as I told you already regarding the type of a contract, your agreement to sell is what executory contract, whereas a contract of a sell is what executed contract. And what is a executed contract and a executory contract, that I have already made you understand. I
Okay,
think all of you have understood that. Then
sir.
regarding your transfer of a property, transfer of
Transfer of property.
transfer of a property. Property means what? Your ownership. Okay. And here you see in a contract particularly, the property in the goods passes from the seller to the buyer immediately. That is at the time of the contract. But in an agreement to sell, the property never passes. Okay, the property never passes. Only there is what agreement to sell. That means the property will pass to other party in the future, whenever what the consideration will be paid. But now there is no consideration. Only there is an agreement to sell. Is that okay?
Sir.
Next point is your risk of loss. You see, the goods, as it is a sales of goods act, so whenever we will handle the goods, there are chances of loss, and this risk of loss is inevitable. But which party? But which party will take the risk of the loss? Okay. So if there is a contract of sale, if there is a contract of sale, then buyer has the risk of loss. What the buyer is supposed to bear the risk of loss, although the goods are not in his possession, but still the buyer has the risk of loss of the goods. But in in an agreement to sell, the seller, why? Because the seller has not received yet all the considerations and not transferred the goods or the property. So the risk of a loss is on the what seller. Is that clear?
Again, sir.
Again, you see the risk of loss of goods or damage of goods or risk of the loss of the goods. So if the goods will be lost, then who shall be responsible? Who shall be responsible? If it is a contract of sale, then the buyer will take that risk of loss. But if it is agreement to sell, then the seller will take that risk of loss.
Sir, what is the difference contract of sale and registration of sale?
That I have made you understand that the contract of a sale means here you see immediately the what position of the goods or the property of the goods or ownership of the goods passes immediately from the buyer to seller, and the consideration also move at the same time. That is what a contract of sale. But in an agreement to sell, you see both the consideration as well as the ownership of the goods will be transferred to each other on a future date. That means they have only made one agreement to sell, to make sale in the future. That is what an agreement to sell. Is that clear?
In agreement of sale, there is a risk to the seller.
The seller, yes, the seller will take the risk of loss. If the goods will be damaged or anything will happen, then what the seller will indemnify. Okay, why? Because the ownership has not yet been transferred to the buyer. Right? If the ownership has been transferred to the buyer, then who shall take the risk? That is the buyer. That is why in a contract of sale, the risk of loss is that of a buyer, not that of the seller.
But in case of risk of seller, so इसमें these goods are already transferred, but payment is not made. Agreement to sell.
In the agreement to sell, nor the goods are transferred, neither possession nor the ownership of the goods has been transferred, nor the consideration has also moved from one party to another. That is what agreement to sell, because everything will happen in a future date. So if there will be any loss, then it is the risk of the seller to indemnify that. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if
Sir,
the
it is not transferred, then how it will be lost?
no, it is. You see, suppose there is. I am giving you one example. Suppose you and me both have entered into an agreement to sell. That means I will sell my car to you in January 1st January 2025. Okay, but whatever the condition of the my car, it will remain the same. But what happened in the meantime? I have kept the car on the road, and as something happened to my car, and part of the car has been destroyed. Now who will take that risk? I will take that risk to repair it and keep it in that same condition, and on 1st January I will give you the delivery of the goods, and then you will give me the money. Or I cannot tell you that what I have kept the car on the road, and there was some accident, and you are supposed to repair that. Will you pay for that? No, definitely not.
No.
Sir.
Okay. Okay.
Sir.
Next is your consequence of a breach. Consequence of the breach. Breach means what? If one party will not fulfill his obligation, that is called a breach. Consequence of a breach may, देखो, on breach of the agreement to sell by the seller.
Breach. Now, what is that, sir?
Breach means that is not obliging the contract. Okay,
Spelling,
suppose
sir?
BREACH, breach.
Breach.
Okay, so you see, if breach means you can tell it as simply not what we are doing, that is not respecting, not giving respect to the agreement. Okay, whenever we are not giving respect to the agreement, that means we will not fulfill, I will never fulfill the obligation to the contract. Then that is called breach of an agreement. Suppose I have made an agreement with you that I will pay you 5,000 on 25th of the December. But on 25th, there will be no communication from my side whether I will make you the payment or not. Although I have not paid you, but I have also never made any communication with you regarding the payment. Then there is what? It is a breach of the agreement, right? So if there will be any breach of agreement, agreement to sell by the seller, then here you see the buyer has only a personal remedy. Okay, here the buyer has only a personal remedy against the seller. But if after a sale, that means in a contract of the sale, the seller breaks the contract, the buyer may sue for delivery of the goods or for the damages. Okay, that means in a contract of a sale, you see the seller has more right than the agreement to sell.
In the
Right.
contract to sell, what happened?
In the contract of sale, you see the seller acquires more right than the agreement to sell. How? Here you see occupies two things. That is, either he can sue for the damage. Okay, he can sue for the delivery of the good, as well as he can also sue for the damages for both the things.
The
Okay,
seller acquires more.
more right. If
How,
you
sir?
how you see in a contract of a sale, what is happening here? You see the seller, if the other party make the breach, then the seller has more right than the agreement to sell. How? He can sue for the delivery of the goods, and he can also sue for the damages. But in an agreement to sell, he has only personal remedy against the seller only. Okay, why he made the breach? For that only he will file a suit against him. But he cannot.
Sir, one example you give, sir.
Example, just for example, I am giving you. Suppose A entered into contract of sale to B. Okay, A entered into contract with B to sell the goods, but A fails. That means A made the breach of the agreement. A will not sell the goods. Then the buyer what will do? Buyer will file a suit for the that is damage of the goods, and he can also sue for the delivery of the goods. Two things. But in the agreement to sell, on the agreement of the sale, we
In
cannot
this case, the item is not sell.
Yes.
Suppose the buyer will not sell the goods. Then buyer will file a case against him.
Obviously. Okay, and here you see the buyer have a more right here. What? One, he can sue for the damage, he can also sue for the delivery of the goods, क्योंकि goods का delivery भी नहीं दिया गया है, और goods का भी अगर कुछ damage हो रहा है, goods का भी कुछ damage हो रहा है, तो उसको भी देना होगा. लेकिन agreement of the sale में क्या हो रहा है? As the consideration has been not paid, so here they right to claim any goods or no right to claim any damage. Only he can file a suit that he had not obliged the contract or not obliged the agreement.
Who will file, sir?
Any party. Suppose one party will make the breach, another party will file the case.
But
Okay.
here no item is transferred.
Yes. In the agreement, in a agreement to sell, as no property is transferred, that is why there is no power. Only personal, that is non-fulfillment of the agreement only will be a breach. But in a contract of a sale, there is a breach of total agreement, total contract. That is why the other party can sue for the delivery of the goods as well as for the damage. Two things. Okay. Now we'll think about the insolvency of the buyer. Suppose the buyer will become insolvent. Okay, in a sale, particularly in a sale, if the buyer is become insolvent, then the seller, in the absence of a lien over the goods, is bound to deliver the goods to the official receiver. Now you see, whenever someone becomes insolvent, then what will happen? The court will appoint a person. This person will call as official receiver. And official receiver, it is the duty of the official receiver to collect all the assets and to dispose of all the liabilities. Is that right?
Not understood anything.
Okay. Insolvent means what? Insolvent means when a person is not capable of paying his debt, he is called insolvent. Right? So in case of insolvency, what will happen? The
Sir,
person
insolvent means what you told?
insolvent means when a person is not capable of paying his debts.
Sir, 1 minute, sir, will write when a person
Is not capable of paying his debts.
not capable
Of
of
his debts.
paying his debts.
डेब्ट्स अभी इसका मतलब क्या है? सपोज मैं बहुत लोगों से कुछ पैसा उधार लिया हूं और नाउ आई एम नॉट इन ए पोजीशन टू पे देम बैक. This is technically called insolvency, and the person who is not capable of paying his debt is called insolvent, right?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So whenever suppose there is one sale, that is a contract of sale, and here you see the buyer become insolvent. If the buyer will become insolvent, then what will happen? The court will also appoint the official receiver. Okay. Now what will happen? The official receiver
Sir,
will
this not court, they will do, suppose he is unable to give, then the seller will file a case.
no. What I am telling you, if the buyer, I am telling in case of the insolvency of the buyer. Okay. In case of insolvency of the buyer, now the court will appoint a official receiver, right? And this official receiver will receive the delivery of the goods from the seller, right? But if it is the agreement to sell, then in the agreement to sell, where the buyer becomes insolvency before he pays for the goods, the seller may not part with the goods until he has been paid. That means the official receiver cannot claim the goods before he makes the payment. That means if the official receiver will claim the goods, then he should pay for that.
No, now official receiver, what is the role of that? Not understood.
Yes.
A wants to sell the part to B, but B is insolvent.
No,
Then
not you see, A wanted to sell his goods to B, and suppose B has made the payment, but
B has made the payment.
B had made the payment, but not received the goods, and in the meantime B becomes insolvent. So the court will appoint an official receiver. These official receivers will receive the goods from A.
No, now he has made the payment, then what is the problem in receiving the goods?
Because he became insolvent. So once a person will become insolvent, now another person will be appointed by the court of law to receive all the debts and receive all the assets and clear all the debts. Now,
now the doubt is that
yes,
A has sold the item to B and B has already paid.
But he has not received the goods.
Received the goods because he become bankrupt.
Not because bankrupt. Suppose in the meantime he becomes bankrupt. Okay. In the meantime he becomes bankrupt. But the thing is that whenever any person becomes insolvent, the court shall declare him insolvent, and immediately the court will appoint a person who is called the official receiver. And it is the duty of the official receiver to collect all the assets and to dispose of all the debts. Right? समझ में आ रहा है?
Sir, again debt कहाँ आया? Sir, he has made the payment, ना?
हाँ, अभी बैंक से लोन लेके पेमेंट किया ना, इसलिए बैंक से वो बैंकरप्ट हो गया.
हाँ, वो पैसा कहाँ से भी पैसा लिया है, वो तो बैंकरप्ट हो गया ना. वंस अभी देखो, बैंकरप्ट का मतलब क्या होता है? मैं जैसे बताया कि आपका एसेट से आपका लायबिलिटी ज्यादा हो गया है. तो जब आपका एसेट कम हो जाता है लायबिलिटी से, सो आप इंसॉल्वेंट हो जाते हो. सो आप जब इंसॉल्वेंट हो जाते हो तो क्या होता है कि the court will appoint a person. That person will be called as official receiver, and this official receiver will receive all of your assets and will settle all the liabilities out of the proceedings of the assets. Is that clear? So अभी क्या होगा? जितना उसका एसेट है सबको तो गैदर करेगा ऑफिशियल रिसीवर, एंड नाउ ऑफिशियल रिसीवर will receive the goods from the A. Okay, but if there was an agreement to sell, then the official receiver cannot receive the goods. If he wanted to receive the goods or if he will claim the goods, then he is supposed to make the payment for that. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for the disturbance. If someone okay, sorry for the interruption. Now you able to follow this example which had been given, that is regarding insolvency of the buyer. Now we'll discuss regarding insolvency of the seller. अभी अगर seller अगर insolvent हो गया, in a sale, if the seller become insolvent before the delivery of the goods, इसमें क्या हो गया? तो seller receive कर दिया payment but never delivered the goods. Then the buyer is entitled to recover the goods from the official receiver. But in an agreement to sell, if the buyer has already paid the price and the seller becomes insolvent, the buyer can claim only a rateable dividend and not the goods. Why? Because the property is not yet passed to him. Right?
But sir, one question, sir.
Yes.
If the buyer has already paid his amount, suppose, okay, the seller got insolvent for some other reason, but buyer has a right to get the material intact, na?
Yes.
Now, why you are telling that like that if seller become insolvent, then they will pay the dividend only. That's why.
No. If it is an agreement to sell, if it is an agreement to sell, here you see the what property or the ownership has not yet transferred. So now
No, but
the official receiver,
buyer already has paid his amount, no? But it's taken actually, so he will get that, na?
you see already amount has been paid, but as the ownership has not been transferred, now he cannot claim the goods, but he only claim a rateable dividend on that. क्योंकि भाई मैं सपोज 5 लाख दिया था, अभी 5 लाख के हिसाब से अगर ये पार्टी अगर इंसॉल्वेंट होता है तो मुझे 4 लाख अगर मिलना है तो मुझे 4 लाख ही दे दीजिए, बट ही कैनॉट क्लेम द गुड्स. समझ में आ रहा है ना? क्योंकि
सर ये समझ में नहीं आया सर, और एक बार बोलिए.
ठीक है, अभी देखो क्या हो रहा है. अगर ये एग्रीमेंट टू सेल है, एग्रीमेंट टू सेल में क्या होता है, आई टोल्ड यू दैट द व्हाट कंसिडरेशन विल मूव इन द फ्यूचर डेट. तो अभी सपोज इसमें भी इफ आल्सो इट हैज बीन पेड, इफ द प्राइसेस ऑलरेडी पेड, बट स्टिल
सर इसमें पेमेंट कहाँ है सर? पेमेंट तो हुआ नहीं ना.
हाँ, पेमेंट देखो क्या होता है कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ सेल में इमीडिएटली पेमेंट हो जाता है, एग्रीमेंट टू सेल में फ्यूचर डेट में पेमेंट होगा. If one party has already paid and another party has not made his obligation, then also it is agreement to sell. समझ में आ रहा है ना? एक पार्टी
ओके.
obligation किया लेकिन another party not completed his obligation, that is why it is agreement to sell. और ये agreement to sell में during this period if the party will become insolvent, अगर insolvent हो जाता है तो प्रॉपर्टी तो ट्रांसफर नहीं हुआ, तो जो ऑफिशियल रिसीवर से ये क्लेम नहीं कर सकता, गुड्स को क्लेम नहीं कर सकता. ये क्या क्लेम करेगा? भाई देखो मैं 5 लाख दिया था, अभी तो ये पार्टी इंसॉल्वेंट हो गया, 5 लाख के हिसाब से जितना मेरा बनता है उतना मुझे दे दीजिए. क्योंकि जब इंसॉल्वेंसी होता है इसमें टोटल पैसा आप क्लेम नहीं कर पाते हो, टोटल पैसा नहीं मिलता है क्योंकि उसका प्रॉपर्टी कम होता है ना लायबिलिटी से. तो इसका मतलब 75%, 85% और whatever will be available, that you will able to get, but not the, you cannot claim the entire goods. समझ में आ गया?
सर
Okay. Now
then you told that dividend कुछ बोल रहे ना.
डिविडेंड का मतलब क्या होता है? अभी देखो मैं जैसे कि बता रहा हूँ, सपोज मेरा प्रॉपर्टी जो है, मेरे पास प्रॉपर्टी है 10 लाख का, और अभी मेरा जितना लाइबिलिटी है, सपोज लाइबिलिटी है 20 लाख का, तो इसका मतलब जो पार्टी मुझे पेमेंट किया था, जितना दिया था, अब उसको कितना मिलेगा? 50% मिलेगा। यही 50% होता है डिविडेंड, रेटेबल डिविडेंड। समझ में आ गया? नहीं आया? समझ में नहीं आया? हेलो,
और एक बार सर बोलिए, और एक बार।
हाँ, अभी देखो क्या हो रहा है। रेटेबल डिविडेंड में आपको समझा रहा हूँ। अभी सपोज देखो, मेरा जो एसेट है, टोटल एसेट है मेरा 10 लाख का, और मेरा लाइबिलिटी टोटल है 20 लाख का, ठीक है?
ओके।
तो अभी मैं तो इंसॉल्वेंट हो चुका हूँ, तो अभी कोर्ट क्या करेगा? मेरा सारा एसेट ले जाएगा। मेरा सारा एसेट हो गया 10 लाख का, और मेरा सारा लाइबिलिटी भी ले जाएगा। मेरा सारा लाइबिलिटी रहा 20 लाख का। तो ये जो 20 लाख मुझे जिन 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 लोगों ने दिया है, उनको क्या होगा? ये 10 लाख उनको डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होगा। तो डिविडेंड, रेटेबल डिविडेंड कितना हुआ? 50%। इसका
ओके।
मतलब आप अगर मुझे 1 लाख दिए हो, तो आपको 50,000 मिलेगा, पूरा 1 लाख नहीं मिलेगा। समझ में आ गया?
ओके
यही
ओके ओके सर।
डिविडेंड।
सर वॉइस ब्रेक हुआ सर, कुछ सुनाई नहीं दिया।
हाँ हाँ, एक बार फिर से समझा रहा हूँ। देखो अभी क्या हो रहा है, सपोज मेरा एसेट का पोजीशन है 10 लाख, और मेरा लाइबिलिटी का पोजीशन है 20 लाख। समझ में आ रहा है? तो
सर
सपोज अभी मैं क्या, इंसॉल्वेंट डिक्लेयर हो गया बाई कोर्ट। तो कोर्ट अगर इंसॉल्वेंट डिक्लेयर करता है, तो कोर्ट एक पर्सन को अपॉइंट करेगा एज ऑफिशियल रिसीवर, एंड दैट ऑफिशियल रिसीवर विल टेक ओवर माई एसेट। 10 लाख का एसेट ले गया, और लाइबिलिटी भी ले गया 20 लाख का। अब ये जो 20 लाख जो लाइबिलिटी है, उनको पेमेंट करेगा ऑफिशियल रिसीवर। कितना? 10 लाख पेमेंट करेगा। तो इसका मतलब कितना हुआ? 50% हो गया। तो कोई आप अगर मुझे 1 लाख दिए होंगे, तो आपको मिलेगा कितना? 50,000। आपको पूरा 1 लाख
सर
नहीं मिलेगा। समझ में आ रहा है?
जी
सर
जी समझ।
हाँ, यही
सर
होता है रेटेबल डिविडेंड का मतलब, यही होता है। समझ में आया? तो अभी
सर
पेमेंट, अभी देखो, अभी पेमेंट कर दिया आपने, मुझे पेमेंट कर दिया। मैं गुड्स का ओनरशिप आपको ट्रांसफर नहीं किया, बट इन द मीन टाइम सपोज आई हैव डिक्लेयर्ड इंसॉल्वेंट। तो अभी क्या होगा? आपने जो 1 लाख मुझे दिया था, उसके लिए आपको 50,000 ही मिलेगा। आप मेरा जो ऑफिशियल रिसीवर होगा, उसे 50 लाख मिलेगा। आप ज्यादा, आप गुड्स क्लेम नहीं कर पाओगे, आपको ओनली 50,000 ही मिलेगा। समझ में आ गया?
जी सर।
सर
वेरी गुड। Now let us discuss the next point, that is regarding right of use. अब right of use ये तो very simple thing है। अब इसको goods का use करना है, तो goods का use कौन कर सकता है? जो contract of sale में ही किया जा सकता है, क्योंकि agreement of the sale में ownership तो transfer नहीं हुआ, तो इसमें the party cannot use the goods। अभी देखो, जो buyer होता है, in a contract of sale he has only the right to use the goods, लेकिन in an agreement to sell, the buyer has no right to use the goods. Why? Because the goods are in the possession of the seller, as well as the ownership is also with the seller. Even though the ownership of the goods is transferred to the buyer, but still he cannot use the goods. Is that okay?
सर
Okay, now I have discussed all these points of distinction between agreement to sell and a contract of sale. Now let us
सर
go to the next, that is regarding your conditions and warranties, right? Conditions and warranties. So ये conditions and warranties क्या होता है? पहले हम condition का मतलब समझेंगे, उसके बाद warranties का मतलब समझेंगे। अभी क्या होता है, एक जो सेल्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ सेल जो होता है, उसमें कुछ स्टिपुलेशंस होता है। स्टिपुलेशंस क्या मतलब क्या होता है? कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स होते हैं, ठीक है? A stipulation essential to the main purpose of the contract, the breach of which gives right to treat the contract as repudiated. इसका मतलब, ये जो contract of sale में ऐसे कुछ important points होते हैं, जिस point को अगर हम नहीं मानते, तो ये contract of sale टूट जाता है। उसी को हम बताते हैं condition। समझ में आ रहा है? Able to understand? A stipulation essential to the main purpose of the contract, the breach of which gives right to treat the contract as repudiated. और अदर वर्ड्स में अगर आप बता सकते हो इसको, if an express stipulation is a part of the contract, its fulfillment is essential to be completed and it is deemed to be a condition. If the condition is not met, then the aggrieved party is entitled to terminate the contract. Is that clear now? Regarding what is
example what is sir? Condition.
okay. Suppose you see, I have entered into a contract of sale with you that there are some technical defects in my car, and after sorting out all the technical defects, I will sell this car to you for 5 lakh rupees. Okay. And suppose I have received the 5 lakh rupees from you, and in the meantime, I have never made good all these defects which are there in my goods. Now, will you take the car in the same condition? Definitely not. Okay. That means if I will not fulfill this condition, then you will not take the goods. That means you will what? You will reject the contract. So this is called a condition, which is defined under section 12, subsection 2 of the Sales of Goods Act. Right? That is a stipulation which is essential to the main purpose of the contract, the breach of which gives right to treat the contract as repudiated. Okay? Now let us understand what are the essentials of a conditions. It is essential to the main purpose of the contract. Actually, it should be connected with the main purpose of the contract. If it is not connected with the main purpose of the contract, if it is a very unimportant fact, then it cannot become a condition. Okay. Another, the non-fulfillment of the condition causes irreparable damage to the aggrieved party, which would defeat the very purpose of which the contract is made. इसका मतलब क्या हो रहा है? ये जो condition, yes,
excuse me,
yes,
this essential, it is essential to the main purpose of the contract means
it is that means what? You see, what is the main purpose of the contract? Suppose main purpose of the contract is here the delivery of the goods. Suppose I supposed to give you the car, but if the car is not in the update condition, as you have seen, if in the meantime certain defects are there and I have not corrected those defects, then you will not take the delivery of that goods. That means our very purpose is to deliver the car to you, but this car cannot be delivered unless all the defects have been solved. If I have not solved all the defects, then I cannot transfer the goods to you.
But he has already paid.
Yes, one party already made the payment, but the another party has not done. What are the condition? What is the basic condition? That I will rectify all the defects and then only I will sell you the car. But as I have not sort out all the defects, then now I cannot transfer the goods, or if I will also transfer the goods to you, you will not take the delivery. Okay, that means what this condition is necessary for the is essential condition for the contract of the sale. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ सेल में क्या है? अभी 5 लाख आपको देना है और कार को न्यू कंडीशन में लेना है, बट द डिफेक्ट्स आर देयर and it is my duty to rectify the defects. If I have not rectified the defects, then will you take the car in that condition?
No.
So that means what? By this you can reject the contract, right?
Yes.
I will not not solve all these defects, then you will not take the car. That means you will reject the contract. So that is a condition. That means a condition is a non-fulfillment of the condition causes irreparable damage to the aggrieved party, which would defeat the very purpose of which the contract is made, and the contract will be rejected by the other party. समझ में आ गया?
Sir.
Okay. And the last point is that the breach of condition gives right to aggrieved party to resign the contract. तो मैं पहले बोला, इसका मतलब क्या हो रहा है, ये जो breach of condition होता है, ये condition breach होने से क्या होता है, opposite party generally resign the contract. ठीक है? So these are the three essentials of a contract. That is contract of ये जो conditions होता है, ये conditions का essential conditions. Okay. Next one is your warranties. So what is a warranty? Warranty is also a stipulation, but it is a stipulation which is collateral to the main purpose of the contract. That means it is not directly connected to the main purpose, but it is collateral to the main purpose of the contract. The breach of which gives rise to a claim for damage, but not to a right to reject the goods and treat the contract as repudiated. इसका मतलब क्या होता है? ये भी एक स्टिपुलेशन होता है. ये स्टिपुलेशन से क्या होगा? द अदर पार्टी विल नॉट रिजाइन द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, बट अदर पार्टी विल क्लेम फॉर द डैमेजेस. समझ में आ रहा है? अभी देखो एक छोटा चीज क्या होता है कि सपोज
कैन यू रिपीट वंस?
हाँ, इसमें क्या होता है, यू सी द वारंटी इज ऑल्सो ए स्टिपुलेशन, but this stipulation is collateral to the main purpose of the contract, but the breach of which gives rise to a claim for damage, but not to a right to reject the goods. Hello?
Sir.
Just a minute, just a minute. Amlan, please close the door. There is the certain disturbances, that is why. Okay. Sorry for this interruption, actually. So you see, your condition is also a stipulation and your warranty is also stipulation, but here you see, in a condition the stipulation is directly connected to the main purpose of the contract, and the breach of which gives rise to reject the contract. But here you see, the other party cannot reject the contract but will claim for damage. For example, अभी देखो, वही सपोज कार जो उसका डिफेक्ट, सपोज मैं सारा डिफेक्ट उसका सॉल्व कर दिया और कार आपको ट्रांसफर करना चाहा, लेकिन कार जब ट्रांसफर करना है तो उसका एक इंश्योरेंस करना है. आपको पता है, जब ओनरशिप ट्रांसफर करते हैं तो व्हीकल का इंश्योरेंस होना चाहिए. अगर ये इंश्योरेंस नहीं है और ओनरशिप में क्या, दैट पार्टी नीड्स इमीडिएट ट्रांसफर ऑफ द ओनरशिप, देन दैट पार्टी विल मेक द पेमेंट for the insurance, but later on he will claim for damage. भाई मैं तो 10,000 दिया इंश्योरेंस के लिए, now it is your duty to pay back that. That means you can claim for damage. समझ में आ रहा है ना? नहीं
सर.
ओके. इसका मतलब ये जो स्टिपुलेशन होता है ये इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है कि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को रिजाइन कर दे. ठीक है, इसके लिए क्या कर सकते हो, यू कैन क्लेम फॉर द डैमेज. ओके. So what are the essentials of warranties? First, it is collateral to the main purpose of the contract. इसका मतलब it is collateral, not directly it is connected, but it is indirectly connected to the main purpose of the contract. And the breach of the warranty causes damage to the aggrieved party and does not defeat the main purpose of the contract. इसका मतलब
collateral meaning what you told?
A collateral means indirectly connected, not directly connected. Okay, directly not connected to the main purpose of the contract, but it is anyway connected. Collateral means it is either some connections are there, but not directly. So that इतना बड़ा कनेक्शन नहीं है कि जिसके लिए कि आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को पूरा रिजाइन कर दो. ये कोई छोटा मोटा है जो कि जिसके लिए कि आप डैमेज क्लेम कर सकते हो, लेकिन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को रिजाइन नहीं कर सकते हो. ठीक है. एंड हियर क्या होता है, द एग्रीड पार्टी कैन ओनली क्लेम द डैमेजेस for the breach of warranty, but not repudiate the contract. The contract को resign.
One thing, sir.
Yes.
This collateral is supposed to be the how much percentage of the original contract?
No, you see, that means it is not so important like your condition. It is not so important like your condition, so that ये कंडीशन, जैसे कि कंडीशन अगर सेटिस्फाई नहीं होता तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट रिजाइन होता है, लेकिन यहाँ पर इतना भी ये इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं होता है जिसके लिए कि आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को रिजाइन करो. इसमें क्या कर सकते हो आप, you can claim only for the damage, not you can resign the contract. समझ में
I
आ गया?
understand. Mean suppose a vehicle got damaged, you have an insurance. What you're telling now, na, actually. So if the vehicle has to be repaired, that money only paid by the third party.
No,
That's
no.
the thing.
You see, insurance is meant for what? Insurance is meant for only accident purpose, not for the technical defects. But I told you na that suppose my vehicle has certain technical defects and I need to correct, and then only I will
Yeah.
transfer. If
Okay. Means any during a warranty period, if you are finding there is some manufacturing defects or some side of technical defects, that can be only leveraged through this
बलबीर
collateral.
का कागज रेडी करो.
नहीं अभी
पॉइंट वही.
वारंटी पीरियड का देखो, आप वारंटी पीरियड को इसके साथ मत घसीटो. मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, अभी सपोज मैं सेल करना चाहता हूँ मेरे कार आपको, ठीक है, मेरा सपोज ये ओल्ड कार है, न्यू कार है, दैट इज इमेटेरियल थिंग. लेकिन मेरा जो कार है, आपने जो कंडीशन देखा, आपको बताया कि इसमें ये सब डिफेक्ट है, तो ये सारे डिफेक्ट को मैं पॉइंट आउट करूँ, इसको सॉर्ट आउट करूँ, उसके बाद आपको सेल करूँ 5 लाख में, तो आपने मुझे 5 लाख दे.
Okay.
लेकिन अभी क्या हुआ कि मैं ये डिफेक्ट को कुछ सॉल्व नहीं किया और आपको ऐसे ही दे दिया, तो आप लोगे क्या? आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट रिजाइन कर दोगे. सही है.
Yeah.
लेकिन क्या अभी जो मैं सारा डिफेक्ट को सॉर्ट आउट कर दिया, लेकिन आपको जब ओनरशिप ट्रांसफर कर रहा हूँ, तब ये वाले ने बोला कि आरटीओ वाले बोले भाई ये तो इंश्योरेंस होना चाहिए, इंश्योरेंस नहीं है, तो इंश्योरेंस नहीं है तो प्रॉपर्टी ओनरशिप ट्रांसफर नहीं होगा. तो अभी क्या हो रहा है, तो आपने दे दिए वो पैसा, इंश्योरेंस का जो पैसा दे दिए आपने, तो अभी क्या कर सकते हो आप? उसी के ग्राउंड में तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को रिजाइन नहीं करोगे, तो आप बोलोगे भाई मैं 10,000 दिया इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को, आप ये 10,000 मुझे दे दो, इतना ही बोलोगे ना. तो ये you can claim only for the damages. Here you cannot resign the contract on that ground, क्योंकि भाई इंश्योरेंस पेमेंट नहीं हुआ है, मैं ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट रिजाइन कर देता हूँ, ये नहीं होगा. समझ में आ रहा ना?
हाँ सर, बट एक्चुअली ये मैंने थोड़ा ऐसे डेफिनेट कुछ है नहीं, मतलब कितना भी ये है सर्टेन अमाउंट दैट व्हिच इज मैंने अकाउंटेबल फॉर द मेकिंग दैट डिफेक्ट्स और समथिंग दैट ओनली इज द पोर्शन ऑफ दिस.
देखो अभी मैं ये टेक्निकल डिफेक्ट्स में बारे में बताया, ये और भी कुछ हो सकता है जो कि मेजर होता है, ठीक है. तो मेजर होने से क्या होगा, आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को रिजाइन कर सकते हो. लेकिन अगर कुछ माइनर चीजें होगा, इसलिए क्या कर सकते हो, आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को रिजाइन नहीं करोगे, आप उसके लिए क्लेम करोगे डैमेज. तो जिसके लिए हम क्लेम करेंगे फॉर द डैमेजेस, दैट इज ओनली कमिंग अंडर योर वारंटीज. लेकिन जिसमें क्या होता है कि हम पूरा एग्रीमेंट को रिजाइन कर देते हैं, वो होता है आपका कंडीशंस. समझ में आ रहा है?
ठीक है.
Okay. Now we'll go to the what we have already discussed, conditions and warranties. Already discussed. Then what is left? What are the things we have considered? That means discussed. First, what is sell? Then what is the agreement to sell? What are the essentials of contract of sale? Then what is condition? What are its essentials? What is the warranty? What are its essentials? And now whether there is a time? No, there is no time. So that in the next session we will discuss that is transfer of ownership. Okay. And I think already time is over. So actually I have certain other assignments. Other teachers will take any class, or I will need to end the session.
सर ये स्टिपुलेशन मीनिंग माने कौन सा?
Stipulation means what it is a condition. Stipulation means what, as I told you na, I wanted to sell you my car after sorting out all the defects. This sorting out all the defects is a stipulation.
Okay, sir.
Right? Okay. So any other teacher will take the class, or I will end the class?
क्लास और ना ही बोले सर एजुकेटिव.
सर ये एचआरएम इज देयर ना.
Okay.
HRM is faster होगा.
सर हम शिफ्ट किया था
faster हो.
So I think no teacher.
हाँ सर एंड कर दिया.
Okay. I am ending the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.